All right. Okay. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope that you've all had a wonderful weekend. It's cold and wet and dreary here, but I still hope you've had a good weekend. Fix my shirt there. So I am coming at you today to talk about specifically our whole flower fluid line. I'm going to start off that when I get into this, you will see that I have Dr. Liz Scott as my name on the screen. I have my doctorate in physical therapy, and I'm a board certified neurologic physical therapist. So that is my background. I am coming to you with education. Part of what I am not someone, especially since I don't have you as a patient, I cannot be someone that can recommend or tell you that this is that you have that this would benefit you. But what I'm going to do is educate you on why it could, and then further discussions, especially in regards to like if you're taking other products or if you have certain diagnoses, those need to be discussed with your personal physician. Okay. But I will tell you that I have done extensive research in this field because of my background in neurologic physical therapy. So I am going to come to you today with a lot of education on what is the endocannabinoid system, what are cannabinoids, and as at the very end, after I educate you on the science behind this, I am then going to talk about our products specifically. But I think it's really important if you are someone that has heard of CBD, if you are someone who has tried any type of CBD product in the past, whether it be an oil, a tincture, edible, anything in that regard, it is really important to understand why there are so many different products on the market and what sets it apart, and then what is truly the medicinal benefit of it. Okay. So I'm super excited to be here with you today. I would love for you, if you're hopping on live, please drop your name in the comments. Let me know who you are and where you're from. And if you are someone who has tried a CBD product in the past, I'd love to know that. If you are someone who has tried ours and you love it, please drop that in the comments too and let us know what it is that you love about it. Okay. Ooh, excuse me. So I'm really excited because I get to go in depth on this. And when I do some of our other presentations, I am not able to go as in depth because I would talk to you for hours. So I'm not going to talk to you for hours tonight, though. I can promise you that. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to make sure that you understand what it is about this product and why it is one of our top selling products. There we go. And why it is that you will hear so many of us raving about ours and what it sets us apart, how it sets us apart from other products out there on the market. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And now I'm frozen. There we go. Okay. All right, here we go. So I have started to be smart and print my notes because I always end up screwing it up when I try to read my notes as I'm doing this. Okay. So what is whole flower fluid? That's what we're going to talk about today. All right. Maybe. So the first thing we need to understand is that this is very different from marijuana. It's cold around here. I got myself some hot chocolate. Okay. So marijuana has a long-standing history both in our country and across the world. Okay. So marijuana, you can see this on here, but I just want you to know that it has been around a long time. However, in most recent times, it has become more widely advertised, media-sized, whatever you want to call it. And actually, it was because of media influence in the 1970s that it became prohibited. Okay. And that actually started like in the 1930s. And then by 1970, it was outlawed. Okay. So it is important to understand that this was used for paper. It was used medicinally for centuries before it was outlawed. Okay. So I just want to start with that and point that out. Okay. Before I get too in depth, Cannabis is a botanical. And within our pharmaceutical advancement, botanicals have been widely utilized medicinally. Okay. So willow bark. Anyone remember Pocahontas and Grandma Willow? I think it was Grandma Willow, right? And she knew that what she had could heal and treat John Smith, right? She gave of herself to heal somebody because of what she had. Well, in 4000 BC, willow bark was first used to reduce fever and inflammation. Within willow bark, okay, is a compound called salicin. This is the active ingredient in the medicine that comes from willow bark. And in 1897, salicylic acid was reduced chemically to acetyl salicylic acid by Bayer. And now we have Bayer, which is again used for fever and inflammation. Okay. But it became a pharmaceutical. It started as a botanical and it was created in a lab, reduced and created and made into a pharmaceutical. Foxglove is the botanical used to create digitalis. Digitalis is now used as a pharmaceutical to treat congestive heart failure and heart rhythm problems. Poppy as opium, and there actually is a pharmaceutical, not in the US, but cannabis as nabiximol, and it's marketed as Sativix, okay? This is a THC plus CBD oral spray. It's legal in 15 countries, and it's used in the treatment of painful spasticity and neuropathic pain in multiple sclerosis. So they have medicinalized cannabis in certain countries already, okay? So I think that's important to understand that a lot of what we see in the pharmaceutical world, there are botanical origins. Okay, one of the main questions I get frequently is, what is the difference between cannabis, hemp, and marijuana? Okay, and I think this picture depicts it beautifully. So cannabis is a plant family that includes many species, both hemp and marijuana. Okay, hemp is a specific variety of cannabis grown for its tall, sturdy stalks, and this is the major thing, it's low levels of the specific cannabinoid THC, which THC is the cannabinoid that can have the psychoactive effect. Marijuana is a different variety of cannabis that's grown for its high levels of THC. So the main difference between hemp and marijuana is the levels of THC in the plant themselves. And that's also really important, okay? Because when you're looking for the purest form of a cannabis or a hemp product, you don't want it to have been messed with, okay? And we're going to talk more about that. So even though it contains low levels of THC, it also contains higher levels of CBD and other beneficial cannabinoids. And that's why it's what's used medicinally, okay? Because the other cannabinoids, and we're going to talk all about that, are in higher levels in the hemp, whereas marijuana is highest in THC and lower levels of the other medicinally beneficial cannabinoids. All right. And I should have said, as you're watching and tuning in, if you've got questions, drop them in the comments. I do see some of them coming up. I probably won't see all of them. I will go back and answer any of them. And you are also more than welcome to always get with the person who invited you to whichever group it is that you're tuning in from. But I will definitely answer questions probably more towards the end, unless I can see it coming in on the screen. Okay. So what is a cannabinoid? Okay. So it's important to know that, and I'm going to make sure, I'm just going to double check my plants here, my notes here. Okay. Oh, okay. And this was a fun fact. So I talked about the history, right? So hemp was actually one of the first plants used for medicine. It was brought to England from India. And I thought this was a fun fact. It was originally used supposedly to treat Queen Victoria's menstrual cramps. That's what they brought it from. So that's how far back it's been used. Okay. So that was just something, there was a little fun fact for you. Okay. So cannabinoids. So endocannabinoids are produced by the body. We're going to talk about that. Phytocannabinoids are the compounds you find in the plant. And then synthetic, just like anything else synthetic, is what is manufactured in a lab. You want to avoid synthetic cannabinoids. Your body is not going to get the greatest benefit from anything synthetic. The more natural, the better. Okay. All right. So, what is the endocannabinoid system? So, the endocannabinoid system was actually discovered in 1992. Okay. And it's comprised of receptors, transmitters, and enzymes. Okay. So, you can see here, okay, right here on the screen, you've got your receptors here. Okay. You've got the transmitters here. And then you have other things that are acting on here, the enzymes that determine how fast or how slow the cannabinoids are broken down. How long do they stay within the postsynaptic or presynaptic phase, or how long are they between the two receptors? That's enzymatic activity. You've heard me talk about enzymes and how important they are. This is different than digestive enzymes, but same concept. Okay. Your body has to have those enzymes and the different cannabinoids for the whole system to work all together. Okay. Then we have a variety of receptors, human cannabinoid receptors, that you will find throughout the body. And this is color coded. Okay. So the ones that are most commonly talked about are CB1 and CB2. Okay. CB1 receptors are concentrated in the brain and the central nervous system, but are also present in some nerves and organs. Okay. CB2 receptors are mostly in the periphery, so organs, especially cells associated with the immune system. Okay. Different cannabinoids will be more attracted to certain receptors. And that's important to understand, because if you only have a product that has one cannabinoid, such as it's a CBD isolate, it is only going to act on one type of receptor. And that's important to you're not going to get a systemic effect. Okay. So when the endocannabinoid system, the entire thing, becomes deficient, it can lead to physiological symptoms. Okay. If you've listened to me talk before, and if you haven't, I'll do it real quick. Okay. Your gut system. Okay. When the gut is not working appropriately, when it's different areas of the gut system are deficient, such as enzymes or the juices of the system, or your probiotics, if it's not all in balance, you start to get physiological symptoms. Okay. And that comes out in skin and in immunity and in mental health. Okay. Your endocannabinoid system is the same thing. Okay. So when the endocannabinoid system's tone is reduced, you present with physiological symptoms. Tone of the endocannabinoid system is actually reflective of two different endocannabinoids, ones that our bodies produce. So if these two cannabinoids, they're called AEA and 2AG. If the production of those cannabinoids within our body and from our body is declining, that is indicative of reduction in tone of our ECS. Okay. The other thing that is used to distinguish a reduced tone is the number of receptors of the ECS that are in our brain. Okay. So current research is supporting this physiological presentation of symptoms due to low tone in the ECS in diagnoses such as migraines, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, and other treatment-resistant syndromes. You can think metabolic syndrome. So if you think to syndromes that you commonly hear people say, oh, I was told there was nothing else that could be done for me. I've been on this many medications and there's nothing's working for me. Okay. Very commonly, a missed system that is not targeted is our ECS. And it's because this has only been legalized in the last few years. Okay. We're missing a huge component of treatment when it comes to these treatment resistant syndromes. Okay. So that's your ECS. Okay. So when we look at cannabinoids, okay, within the cannabis plant, there are more than 100 different cannabinoids that can be found in one plant. Okay. The most common are CBD and THC. Okay. But there are different forms of both of these. CBD and many of the other cannabinoids, as well as THC, has an acidic form and then a non-acidic, or what is called the decarboxylated form. Okay. In a whole plant, you will find both forms. You will find both the A and the non-A. Okay. And you can see that here, THCA, CBDA. Okay. That's the acidic form. And then the decarboxylated form is the non-A. Okay. The other way, though, to convert an acidic form to a non-acidic form, okay, is to heat it. But you would know that that's been done because you will only find one form. Okay. You will find, so if you think to marijuana, right, which has the highest levels of THC, and when you smoke it, you are heating it. Okay. The acidic form of THC is the non psychoactive form. And then when heated, it becomes decarboxylated. Okay. So if you are heated, so looking at the different levels, it's just important to know that like a whole plant is going to show you both. You're going to have those forms. But if it's already been treated, if it's been synthetic, if it's, anything like that, then something has been done to change those cannabinoids and it's going to look different. Okay. But what you will see here is that these different cannabinoids have been studied and shown to do all of these things. All of these things. Okay? Pain and sleep, disease specific, eating and digestion, neurological. I mean, glaucoma relief, anti-ischemic, meaning that it's going to improve blood flow. It's going to prevent blood from getting stopped and going where it needs to go. Alicia, I know there's so much. And that's why this is something that this is why I don't go over all of this in our overviews, because there's so much to know. But I hope that this will be a resource that you can come back to and maybe listen a couple of times, because there's so much information to understand about like what sets us apart. So I do know that it's okay. So each of these then breaks it down into which of the specific, and I showed both because I think both are good pictures, right? And everyone looks at things a little bit differently. Or if you're a color-coded type of person, this is gonna appeal more to you. If you just want to know what each one does, this one's gonna appeal more to you. So it just kind of depends on what you look at. But I wanted you to see the many, many benefits of cannabinoids in general. Okay. All right. Then the next thing that you're gonna find in a hemp product are terpenes. Okay. Terpenes are the essential oils of plants. Okay. So these are the aromas, the smells, the flavors, the colors sometimes that are associated with various types of vegetation. Okay. Within cannabis, different terpenes actually distinguish the taste and smell of different strains. So if you have one strain of hemp, it's going to have different terpenes than if you had a different strain of hemp. Okay. But some of the most common cannabis terpenes are listed here. And it's going to tell you here what's the smell that you get from that terpene, what are the effects that it has on the body, what are the medical benefits of it, where can you find, what different strains would you find these terpenes in, and where else would it be found other than cannabis, right? And I think that's the most interesting. Limonene, you're going to find in citrus and peppermint. Pinene, you're going to find in pine, parsley, basil, rosemary. So these terpenes aren't limited to cannabis plants. They are found in other plants and vegetation, but because they are in cannabis, and when you combine the terpenes with the cannabinoids, you are getting what is called the entourage effect. You are getting the medicinal benefit of everything that we talked about on the previous, on this slide, all of those benefits from the cannabinoid. Then you add in the terpenes and you're getting all of the benefits of the terpenes, and you're getting it in one fell swoop, called the entourage effect. And that is in itself what distinguishes our product from other products on the market. And I'm going to show you here. Okay. This is not something I should like everyone's going to understand. And I don't want you to try and read it. Okay. That's not what I want you to do. But what this is a COA, or what is called a certificate of analysis. This is the August 2021 certificate of analysis of our whole flower fluid Soothe drops. Okay. What that means is that the drops were sent to a lab. This lab has been vetted by our scientific advisory board and shown and known to be of highest quality. Okay. Labs themselves can be bad, and that can lead to not the greatest information when it comes to what's coming out of the lab. Okay. So you want to vet your lab. Ours has been vetted. Okay. So they take those drops and they analyze it for what's in it. Okay. And what you will see, okay, is what was found, the different cannabinoids that were found within this particular batch. You see CBC, CBG, CBN, CBD, CBD, ADV, and the lowest a percentage of THC. So it has to be less than 0.3% THC. That is legally, for if it's not sold in a dispensary, less than 0.3%. And what you will see here is when you combine the two forms of THC found in this batch, you come out to 0.1%. Okay, 0.1, significantly less than 0.3%. And I think that's a common question that comes across. Okay. Then you come down here and you can see the different terpenes that were found, and you see a wide variety of terpenes. That is going to help you to differentiate the strains that it comes from if you get really specific. But what's important to know is that slide that we just looked at of some of the most common, caryophyllene, linalool, myrcene, I have no idea if I'm saying these correctly, pinene and limonene, okay? You're going to see here limonene, linalool, caryophyllene, myrcene, okay? You're seeing all of those most common terpenes also in our Soothe drops, okay? So let me just, okay, the other thing that's important to understand, okay? When you are looking at various hemp products, okay, it is actually very important that if a product contains delta 9, that's this, THC, that it must also contain, CBD. And the reason for that, okay, so delta 9 THC binds to certain receptors in the brain and within your central nervous system. We talked about where those receptors are, okay? It also binds to receptors within the periphery, within the rest of your organs and things like that. But when that specific cannabinoid is combined with CBD, okay, CBD stimulates specific enzymatic activity that opposes the action of THC that can cause that intoxicating effect. So automatically, because there is the two of them together, you are less likely to have those intoxicating effects because it's not there. And then you take the significantly low level of it, because there's only 0.05% of that particular type. THCA is your non-psychoactive, okay? So when people come up and are concerned about that, and if they've had an experience with a product before, a good question to ask is, did it have both? Okay, because if it didn't, And if THC was combined with CBG or CBN or CB, any of the other ones, those other cannabinoids don't have the same blocking mechanism as CBD does. So having that combination is really important. Okay. Okay. So now we get to our whole flower fluid. Okay. All of that information is because what we have, okay, is a product. And I'm actually going to take this off the screen because you guys, okay. So we have drops, we have a muscle rub, and then we have a spray. And I'm going to go into each of those now to give you guys a little bit of details on that. Okay. So drops. First of all, our drops and our spray are water compatible, meaning if you have not seen the demonstration of our drops being put into water and compared to an oil-based product, get with the person who brought you on this or told you to watch me tonight, okay? And ask them to show you or have them tag you in or send you the video of what that does, okay? Oil and water don't mix. So the oil sits on top of the water. That's why so many of the oils are ineffective in producing benefits for those of us that are looking for medicinal benefits. The other problem is many of us lack the enzyme, the digestive enzyme to break down lipids, which is oil is fat, right? So if you don't have that enzyme to break down those lipids, you never actually get to the medicinal benefit of the product, okay? But this product is water compatible. So it actually, you would see it like just dissolve. And that's the patented proprietary extraction and creation process of it, okay? Oils require droppers full. You start with like half, you build to 1, sometimes you need 2, and then you got to hold it under your tongue to try and allow the enzymes found in your oral cavity to break it down so that you're actually getting the medicinal benefit of it, okay? When you've got a water compatible product, you don't have to do it. It's water compatible. Your mouth is full of moisture, okay? And it's immediately effective. Most people within 30 minutes, okay? Some people it can be a little bit longer, but most people will feel some type of change within 30 minutes. Now think about the fact that you need 2 drops versus 2 droppers full, and the amount that is in per bottle, and your cost is significantly less with a whole flower fluid, okay? Why is it called whole flower fluid? Because I just showed you. I showed you the cannabinoid profile. I showed you the terpene profile. And when you have a product that is a straight plant to bottle process, like think about cold pressing a juice, okay? That is what you're getting. You're getting plant to bottle. There's nothing synthetic. There's nothing added. There's no carriers. It's just plant to bottle, okay? And it's a water compatible product, okay? It is organically farmed, extracted, and bottled all within the United States. So none of it is outsourced, okay? Hemp in general is designed to bring homeostasis to the body, balance. And we talked about that. That low tone of our endocannabinoid system is leading to physiological symptoms. And it's something that we're missing when it comes to balance, to hormonal or body balance, hormones, gut, immune system, mental, you name it. There are receptors within our entire body. Okay. Okay. Then we've got our spray. Okay. So our spray, if you were to go on and look at our certificate of analysis of our spray, you're going to see something a little bit different. There are not the same terpene profile. And that is because what are terpenes? Anyway, I know there's only a few people watching, but think about what I said terpenes were, right? So terpenes are the aromas, flavors, and colors associated with certain types of vegetation. Well, our spray has organic mint and cinnamon added to it. So when you send a bottle of that to be analyzed, it's picking up on mint and cinnamon. The other terpenes from the plant are going to be overpowered. Okay, so there is not the same terpene profile in our spray, but it's still whole flower fluid. Okay, you will still see a very similar cannabinoid profile to our spray. And that is equally as important, okay? Because those cannabinoids getting in the system is a major component of the medicinal benefit, okay? So our spray is advertised as an energized. And what this is that It is a low frequency energy that opens the biological windows of the cells within our body, and that aids in the reception of the compounds and molecules into the cell. So instead of the terpenes, there is this specific process of how the spray is put into the canister and then how it is then put into our bodies. And so that is what gives it the equal effectiveness as the drops. But now you've got something that tastes better for those that don't like the taste. Okay. It's also water compatible. I'm just making sure I get all the main points. Okay. So faster water compatible absorption means it's more benefit from less money per dose compared to competitors, less product needed to get the same effect. The last product in our line is our Relief Muscle Rub. Okay. So there are 8 different botanicals so it's whole flower fluid. Okay. So it's the basis. It's the same hemp product, the whole flower fluid. And then that is combined with 8 different botanicals: menthol, wintergreen, which is shown to have benefits in muscle and joint discomfort; rosemary, also found to be beneficial in pain relief and reducing tissue inflammation; peppermint, known to soothe tension and pain; camphor, used to reduce inflammation and ease body aches. You should be hearing a pattern here. Yes, okay. Arnica from Montana flower, an herb with analgesic or pain-reducing properties, okay? And methyl salicylate, which eases minor body aches and pains. It is an amazing product for acute pain, inflammation, and soreness. Like, bar none, top of the line. And you need, which is also amazing, the smallest. It is like the smallest little dose. I think I've taken a picture before of like how much one pump comes from that versus like a pump of something else. Okay. It also has natural moisturizers in it, so it can be used, like it will help with just like rehydrating the skin and moisturizing the skin. It does help with that as well. Okay. One of the warnings I do put out there, and this is on the bottle too, make sure that if you're using it on your fingers and then rubbing it on your body, that you wash your hands before you then like touch your face or go anywhere near your eyes. Okay. Because of the strength of the botanicals and the whole flower fluid itself, you just want to make sure that you're not, and it's not going to do anything other than it's uncomfortable. It's not like harmful or anything, but I just put that disclaimer out. Make sure if you're, touching it, that you also wash your hands, and that's on the bottle. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. I know that the beginning part was very like in-depth and sciencey, but that was kind of the point of tonight. Okay. Or this afternoon. It feels like nighttime because it's dark here already. Are there any, I'm going to stay on for just a second and just see if there are any questions that came up during that. And then if not, and you end up are watching this on the replay and you have questions, I would love for you to put them in the comments, tag me in it, so that, I can come back and answer it. And if anyone gets questions from people that you've added to this group, feel free to come back and put those questions in the comments here so that other people can learn from it too. And I'll answer it in here as well. But yeah, I'll give it just like 30 more seconds and just see if anyone else. Otherwise, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time. For those that watch live, when you watch the replay, thank you for taking the time out to watch the replay as well. I love doing this. I'm very excited to continue to be doing this product profile on our Sundays, giving you a more in-depth look at the products and what they do and their benefits and their ingredients and all of that. So if you are ever in need or have specific things you would like me to discuss, whether you are someone who is on our team and you want to know more about something, or you're someone who's interested, or anything like that, send them to me, send them to the people who've invited you into the groups that I'm broadcasting this into, and let them know and have them pass it along. I am happy to cater any and all of this education to best serve each and every one of you. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful remainder of your Sunday, and have a great start to your week.